welcome back to Art Keeler Outdoors. Going through my tackle still. It's still winter, unfortunately. Just knocking out these tackle videos as they come along. Today, we got Topwater. So we'll be going through my Topwater box. These are most of my hard lures. I got my frogs in here. And we're just going to talk some Topwater, so stick with me. Topwater, one of everyone's favorite ways to catch a fish. So I got a good mix of the old school, the new school, some things you might not have seen before, some things you probably have, and some things you probably fish. I'm just going to start going right along. So first hole, whopper ploppers. So everyone knows about the whopper plopper. These are actually the river to sea whopper ploppers. I know there's Chopos out there now. Guga makes a revolver, I think it's called, that pretty much does the same thing. I use the 90 and the 75 sizes are the two I use from the whopper plopper. I don't fish them. Probably 4 or 5 years ago, I fished them a ton. They caught a ton. That bite really seemed to slow down. I mean, when they first came out, you just throw it out, you just wound it back to the boat. This is one of the baits I would give Brianna when she was my girlfriend at the time. So one of the baits I'd give her to catch fish on because you just threw it out and wind it back to the boat. I catch myself now when I do put it on, I don't wind them anymore. I just kind of chirp them along the top of the water. And that seems to be one of the few ways I could still get bit, but the bite has definitely died off on the whopper plopper. A lot of people use it, a lot of people still throw it everywhere, so fish get accustomed to it. You're not going to fool the same fish on a whopper plopper every time. So that's the two sizes I use. I have a few colors in each. Natural, some white bottom, black bottom is usually how I do most of my Topwater baits. Moving on, I love walking baits. Walking baits are my favorite thing. And I'll pull out a few of my spooks here. So this is one of my favorite ones. And this is the Dual Pitch by 13 Fishing. And this is just a bluegill color. It's one of my favorite ones to throw. This is usually the one I start on. Like I said, I care more about that bottom than I do the paint on the top. White bottom, black bottom, like I said. I do have these two. This is the Sammy from Lucky Craft in the bigger size. And this is the Sammy from Lucky Craft in their smaller size. As far as smaller ones go for spooks, so this is the Zara Spook, the puppy, their smaller size one. And I also have a custom painted one from my buddy at PA Lorecraft. You see, he custom paints a lot of my stuff. So a nice custom color from him. And that's the two small ones I really throw. And I don't downsize very often on the spook. That's usually a struggle thing when I'm going that small. But absolutely love my walking baits. So just to go with them, I'll actually show you these here. So these are pencil poppers. So this is the gunfish with that pencil, the popping nose. These things for pencil poppers walk very well. This is the Gunfish 117 by Lucky Craft. And I have a few of those, as you could see. And that's just a different variation of that spook, something I could throw out there with a longer, skinnier platform that has a little tight. Sorry about that. It just has a little tighter walk, little less action than those big side-to-side spook walks. Use that to transition right into my poppers. So I have a ton of poppers. Over here, that's just a mess of poppers. They're your old school kind of chugger type poppers where bloop, let it sit, bloop, let it sit, bloop. And they work. They're a little slower than I like to fish. So I'm going to show you the poppers that I really love to fish. And these are the Lolino Ricos. I don't know if you guys have heard about these. I've done a video on them. These poppers are unique where you can put them on a heavier line. I've been fishing them on mono lately. 16-pound mono is what I've been fishing them on. I started off fishing them on braid, if you watch my video from the middle of the summer. I've since transitioned them to a heavier mono. These things walk just as well as most of my spooks, but you can put that bloop, that chug into them at times too. So they're versatile. They're very versatile. They come in 2 different sizes. I'll show you the smaller size too. Some very unique colors. Bigger size, smaller size. Very unique colors, like I said. And both of them, the smaller size or the bigger size, whichever one you get, walk them, chug them, do whatever you want with them. These things seem to catch fish on days I struggled catching them. On anything else, I put these poppers on and I seem to land a few fish. So they still have power in them. The Beano Ricos, if you haven't heard of them, check them out. Check out my video from earlier in the summer. And yeah, they're just a special, unique popper. There's not many out there like them. Let's go into frogs real quick. So everyone knows there's 2 style frogs, your walking frog. And I've been using a lot of the Guggen frogs lately. This one's a river to sea bullywah. And then these, I've actually fallen in love with these over the summer. These are the 6th Sense Vega frogs. They're like a hybrid walking popping frog. I really love them. They have become my favorite frog. As far as frogs go, everyone knows, so I have 2 of these Guggen ones. You see what the full-size tail looks like? That's the real modification I make. Trim one of the tail down about 1 inch, 1/2 inch to 1 inch. That helps you walk them a little better. So that's my only tip on you guys with frogs. You can bend the hooks out if you're struggling with the hookup ratio. I don't seem to struggle with the hookup ratio as much as other people do. Most of the time when a fish around here doesn't get my frog, it's just not the right size fish. And yeah, I haven't had many problems. I will bend the hooks out slightly if I'm not fishing, if I'm fishing more open water. But a lot of times I'm throwing these, skipping them up in the mess, and I don't want to snag stuff. So that's how simple I keep it with frogs. The Guggen frogs have worked well for me. The bullywah is one of the best walking frogs I've ever seen. I really love these 6th Sense Vega frogs. Great walk, great looking frog, great looking profile, pretty unique. I do have some other popping frogs and stuff like that. I have the Guggen popping frogs. Just whatever I could find at Dick's Sporting Goods one day when I was grabbing it. This is the Spittin' Wah. This is their version of their popping frog from River to Sea. That's a nice one too. So yeah, frog fishing. I love frog fishing. If you've seen my videos, I frog fish a good bit up here. So that's how basic I keep it on my frogs. We did the poppers, pencil poppers. This is for the old school guys watching. I still have this and I still throw it. An old black jitterbug, the original. Chirp it, jig it, whatever you want to do. Right at dusk, low light conditions, still might not be a better topwater bite than that jitterbug bite. And for whatever reason, people don't throw them. People have forgotten about them. So, lastly, because I don't want to waste a lot of time, everyone fishes topwater. If you can walk a spook, if you can walk a frog, that's the key. It's practice. It's putting the bait in the right position, learning how much slack you need in your line when you're walking it, and it's a feel process. You got to get out there and try it. There's nothing I could tell you on here that's going to make you walk a frog or walk a spook better. You have to have the right bait, right setup, and then it's just a feel. You'll feel it, and you'll see the motion. You'll see how much slack you need in that line. You'll see when you get that line too tight where you don't quite get the motion you want. And there is some uniqueness you could do with the short and the long snaps of your wrist to actually make spooks turn almost and face cover and do some other things. So it's really a feel. Get out there, put on your favorite walking bait, get the feel of it. So like I said, a few baits that I tried this past year that I had some luck on that you guys might not have heard of. Or maybe you heard of and you're on the fence about spending the money to try them. So 2 of the newer ones I'd recommend. These ones right here. These are the Jackal risers. They're smaller and they kind of sink and rise, but there is a way. I keep them in my topwater box because I work on topwater. I'll throw them out and I'll actually rip them across the top like a fleeing minnow, so it's throwing a little bit of water as it comes across. Again, it's something you just have to play with, but Jackal risers. These are the two colors I went with. I always go with some kind of white bone. That's usually where I start on my topwater. I recommend them if you're looking to try something new. And this one from Z-Man, this is called, it's got a pretty stout hook there, caught me, the Hellraiser. So this was kind of sold as a topwater chatterbait. And when I seen it, I was like, I'll get it to try it. I wasn't expecting much. I think I was in a tournament late season with Doug Reiser, and we were having a pitiful day. Lost some fish on a drop shot and shaky head that we should have put in the boat. So the last hour, what are you going to do? We're coming down the flat, nothing in the live well. I put this thing on and started screaming it across the top of the water. And I mean, this is midday, 12:30. I triggered some fish and some bigger fish to bite on this that I probably never would have touched on another lure. So I haven't had much time to experiment with this one. That was the one time I threw it. I think I threw it one other time for like 15 minutes from the bank. But it saved me that day in that tournament. And we caught decent fish on it. So Z-Man Hellraiser Topwater Chatterbait. If you're looking for something new, give it a shot. I got two late additions to this video I want to add to you. Two soft plastic topwaters that I always keep on my boat the last year since seeing the power of them. And one, many of you might have heard of it, the Jackal Bounty Fish. So it's just a soft plastic. It's a bigger soft plastic. This is a 6/0 screw lock hook, owner screw lock hook. You can see it's held together by a netting, and that's what gives it its walking action. And the power in this bait, honestly, and I forget who did the video, Bass Fishing HQ did the original video I seen this on. The power in this bait is where you can put this bait. So once it's rigged like that, and I experimented with it on a local reservoir here, putting it up under some trees and some areas I wouldn't dare cast anything else. This bait skips like a Senko. It really does. You could put this up under some overhanging trees. You wouldn't dare throw a topwater in. And it has a nice walk for a soft plastic. It walks just like a spook coming out. So there's definitely some power in this. I have the black ones. I have the white ones. That's the two I have. You need a bigger hook. So 5, 6/0, even 7/0 would probably work if you could find it for this. But check out his video over at Bass Fishing HQ on the bounty fish. He has a great video of him fishing it. And this bait has a power that not many topwaters can mimic. And what other soft plastic? The Z-Man Pop Shads. So I don't know, pull them out, if anyone else has ever used these. I found out the power of these when I was fishing headwaters down in Florida with the guide I was with, Mike Arnaldi. And again, you need that bigger hook. That 5/0, 4/0 might work, but it's going to be pretty short. Bigger hook with this one, but this skips like the bounty fish, and it pops. It almost snaps the water, but it does something a popper doesn't do because of how well a popper floats. This snaps the water like a plopper and actually dives under 3 or 4 inches and then resurfaces and does it, and then you could do it again. So you pop it, dives under like a fleeting minnow, then comes back to the surface. Most of the bites I got was when this was actually diving underwater, which is an action that not many other baits have. So these are definitely two soft plastics you can look into for your topwater game if you're looking for something a little different. So that's pretty much it. Short and simple. No reason to really waste a lot of time. Topwater is what topwater is. I'll do my buzz baits in a different video because there are some unique things I do with a buzz bait that are a little different, I think, than other people and worth talking about. So any questions on my topwater stuff, anything you like to use that you think I'm missing on, leave it in the comments. Appreciate you guys watching. Have a good day.